Hello dear viewers, welcome to this latest edition of the news in English on Rwanda Television. My name is Sarah Shinhore. Let's start with the headlines. The genocide suspect Francois Gasana has been extradited from Norway to Rwanda. Prime Minister Justin Nsengiyumva has begun a two-day working visit to the eastern province of the country. And on the international scene, a wave of attacks in northern Mozambique has displaced almost 60,000 people in just 2 weeks. Now, straight to the details. Thank you again for taking the time to join us. The Prime Minister of Rwanda, Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva, has urged farmers grouped in the National Farmers Cooperative to effectively utilize pivot irrigation technology to increase agricultural productivity. He delivered the message during his inspection of a solar-powered irrigation project in Nasho, marking the start of his two-day working visit in the eastern province. Adam Squizera with the details.
A look across the national pivot irrigation system reveals a thriving crops maize, cabbage and soybeans dominate the fields. Some are ready for the harvest, while others are nearing maturity. Farmers working this irrigation zone says it has transformed their lives. The national irrigation scheme was the Prime Minister's first stop during his Eastern Province visit. Upon arrival, he was briefed on the technology used for irrigation in the area and shown the tangible results it has produced since 2016. Inshuti Devi, the head of the National Irrigation Cooperative, said that based on the current yields, the cooperative could generate more than 1.5 billion Rwandan francs in revenues.
And they work together to increase the yields on 1 hectare, where they were from 1 ton per hectare. Now the average yields on 1 hectare is 6.2 ton per hectare. Yeah, that and this scheme has been brought the positive impact on the community and the cooperative members, because as you see, we found that there is some positive change, where the members are able to take their shit to the schools, secondary and the high schools. That is the positive impact now we can talk about.
Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva met with members of the National Irrigation Cooperative NICO, who benefit from advanced pivot irrigation technology. He urged them to maximize its use and encourage the youth to take up agriculture as a viable economic activity. I urge you to keep working. If you are harvesting 10 tons, aim to reach 15 next time. I will even inform President about that goal of increasing production and even expanding markets. We also have to ensure that youth are educated and encouraged to actively participate in this sector. The Prime Minister's visit continued to Nyagatare district, where he visited the milk powder plant with the capacity to produce 25 tons per day.
As I've said, we are now at 31% capacity utilization of the factory. We have been planning to produce at 45% capacity utilization. During the rain season, it goes up to even 38%. So it goes progressively. So we are monitoring both market and the production. So, but the good things for this factory, one, at the time when we started, we was been applying on the certification. There's an international certificate which is needed for us to go to the export market, which we have already got all the certificate. That's one of the achievements this factory has been getting. Secondly, we are starting exporting. We are more than 6 countries, as I've said. We are in Turkey, Syria, Oman, Saudi Arabia, we are Ghana, Tanzania. That's another opportunity to have seen. Also, we have another potential client from other countries, which we are still discussing with them. So, looking for the first year, looking progressively where we are this factor is gone. We are actually in good progress.
Later, he also visited the East African Granite, a tile manufacturing factory, also based in Nyagatare district. Adam Squizera, reporting for RTV News in Eastern Province.
Thank you, Adams. Now, a year since the first milk powder processing plant in Rwanda was opened in Nyagatare district, the milk powder it produces has now found markets in 8 countries across the world, as well as in major factories within the country. The plant has the capacity to process 40 tons of milk per day and currently receives nearly 3 million liters of cow's milk each month from farmers across the country. Construction of the Inyanje milk powder plant began back in 2021 in the Rutakara industrial zone in Nyagatare sector. By July 24th, 2024, it had become a date of historic significance, especially for farmers, because in the eastern province, that is, because it had marked the official inauguration of the long-awaited plant. The plant spends over 7.8 billion Rwandan francs each month buying milk from farmers. Next month, the milk powder will also start being sold at the retail level so that every citizen who wants it can access it. The plant was completed at a cost of $54 million and has over 250 permanent employees, most of them Rwandans. It's in almost all districts of the country, especially those engaged in livestock farming. The Inyanje plant collects milk from farmers. It now works with 139 milk collection centers, up from 40. In those districts, there are plant employees who live among the farmers, providing them with skills to help increase milk production. Now, as we noted in the headlines, Ibuka, that is the organization which advocates for survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi here in Rwanda, has commended Norway's continued efforts to extradite genocide suspects back to Rwanda. This follows Norway's extradition of Francois Gasana to face trial for his alleged role in the genocide against the Tutsi. Following the extradition, the spokesperson of Rwanda's National Public Prosecution Authority, that is Faustin Nkusi, immediately issued a statement.
Take this opportunity to commend and express our sincere appreciation to the judicial authorities of the Kingdom of Norway for facilitating the extradition of Gasana Francois, who was involved in the acts of genocide committed against the Tutsi in 1994. So we also appreciate the continued commitment and cooperation in the matters of mutual legal assistance, as well as their contribution to the global effort to fight impunity. This action demonstrates their dedication to ensuring that individuals who commit crimes cannot find safe haven to their soil. We acknowledge that this is not their first instance of extradition, because in 2013, Norway extradited Mandora Sharire, who is currently serving a sentence in Manga prison. He is now serving 30 years, and we also recognize this. Additionally, the domestic courts in Norway, around 2012 or 2013, they tried another fugitive in the domestic courts, a fugitive called Ujingo Sad, and sentenced him to 19 years imprisonment. So we have consistently recognized and appreciate the level of cooperation, and we remain committed to continuing our collaboration with the judicial authorities of the Kingdom of Norway, even in the remaining cases that they still handle, because they are almost 4, and we really appreciate, and we shall continue to work together to make sure that even the remaining cases are handled, and those who are still at large be extradited.
Gasana was arrested in Oslo back in 2022 after thorough investigations by the Norwegian authorities. In September 2023, an Oslo court ruled for his extradition to Rwanda, which he appealed. In April last year, the country's Court of Appeal upheld the extradition decision, leading to him coming back today. Agreement between the Rwanda Development Board and Bayern Munich is going to focus on developing football talent. Both parties have noted that the 3-year agreement, which has been signed and will run until 2028, represents a new vision for the partnership. This will also involve expanding Bayern's football school here in Kigali, a school that RDB says is proof of the positive fruits yielded from the partnership with the European football giant. It has also been noted that this new phase of cooperation plays an important role in developing talent among both players and coaches, as well as promoting sports infrastructure that it aligns with the vision of making Rwanda a hub of tourism, investment, and further achieving excellence in sports. Officials in the Ministry of Trade and Industry have observed that the measures taken to increase the value of agricultural and livestock products are beginning to benefit the country's economy. This follows a report from the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda showing that the output of agro-processing industries has grown by 24.6%. William Evans Mutabazi with the details.
Located just outside of Kigali, on the road to the east of Rwanda, in Nyargunga sector of Kicukiro district, is a factory that processes maize flour, known locally as kaunga, animal feeds, and other products used by breweries. John Malivian Musonera, finance manager at Minimex, says their output increased this year compared to last year. Our factory has a capacity to process over 144 tons in just 24 hours. Last year, we produced at 27% of our capacity. This year, in just the previous 6 months, we have produced at 39% of our factory capacity. We tried reducing prices of our flour and also spread out our market reach. Agro products continue to be value added across the country in both large and small scale to medium scale factories. Rodrick Mananio Mugabo, a representative of Casa Made, a factory that works with maize, sorghum and soybean farmers, by buying their harvest and processing it into blended porridge flour, says the output has risen because customer numbers grew after they expanded their market reach. We do not import any ingredients we use for our blended porridge flour. Instead, we work closely with local farmers who sell to us their produce, which we use to process our highly nutritious porridge flour. This flour is good for both old and young people. Remy Christiana Hayo is part of a youth group that jointly owns a small factory processing beekeeping products. He says that their production increased thanks to the support from the government agencies. What we do has experienced growth over time. We have been in operation about 8 years now, and our current capacity is producing and processing 4 tons, but also selling 4 tons per month. According to Fred Mugabe, an industrial policy analyst at Minicom, the growth of factories adding value to agriculture and livestock products is a result of measures the Rwandan government has been implementing.
Inganda zikora ibikomoka ku buhinzi n'ubworozi twabonye zaragize izamuka riri ku rwego rushimishije cyane hejuru ya 20%.
We have taken note of an impressive growth in agri-processing industries, which is over 20%. This speaks to the fact that, indeed, the different government policies and initiatives are bringing about the much-needed results. The agri-processing industries are among the priorities, both in increasing their output, finding new markets, and also dealing with their challenges. The growth also means that people should continue working hard so that we have continued growth beyond what we have now achieved, but also people should make sure this sector does not drop at whatever cost. The latest report from the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda shows that the output of agro-processing industries rose by 24.6% in June 2025 compared to June 2024. Adding value to agriculture and livestock products remains a key priority because it significantly contributes to the national economy, where part of the output is sold in domestic markets, while the rest is exported, earning the country foreign exchange. William Evans, RTV News.
Thank you, William. Now, a total of 163 officers and other ranks from the Rwanda Defense Force military police have today successfully completed a 6-week intensive training program jointly conducted by the RDF and the Qatar Armed Forces at the Rwanda Military Academy in Gako. The pass-out ceremony was presided over by the RDF Chief of Defense Staff, General M.K. Mubarak. The event was also attended by His Excellency Mr. Ali bin Hamad, the chargé d'affaires of the state of Qatar to Rwanda, RDF generals and a delegation from the Qatar Armed Forces. The course focused on 4 key areas: VIP protection, counter-terrorism and anti-rioting operations, as well as fighting in built-up areas. Its primary aim was to equip RDF personnel with advanced technical skills to effectively manage emerging security threats, protect high-profile individuals, respond to terrorism, and control public disorder. In his address, General Mubarak expressed appreciation to the Qatar Armed Forces for their unwavering support and long-standing partnership. He acknowledged the valuable contribution of the highly skilled Qatar trainers who, on multiple occasions, have enhanced the RDF military police's capabilities with critical knowledge and tactical proficiency in responding to specific threats. General Mubarak further emphasized the RDF's continued commitment to strengthening internal capabilities and fostering external partnerships in pursuit of both national and regional security. Major Nadir Al-Hajiri, the Chief of Training, praised the RDF for its dedication to deepening the partnership between Qatar and Rwanda through joint initiatives such as this training program. This joint initiative underscores the strong bilateral ties that exist between Qatar and Rwanda and reflects their shared commitment to enhancing security capabilities.
Moments. Laying hooks. Getting away. Making moves. Breakfast with family. Inyanje is always there. Whatever the occasion, whatever the moment, always ask for Inyanje.
Nyiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo wagira umukamo mwinshi utunze inka imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi hari abamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njya muri kaminuza hari abanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko nashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashisha, ariko byaragiye nanditse amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abankomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye ziba impamo. Bigereho.
Welcome back. Now a look at what is happening elsewhere around the world. A wave of attacks in northern Mozambique has displaced almost 60,000 people in just 2 weeks, this according to the United Nations. The assaults took place in villages in the Cabo Delgado province. An armed group affiliated to ISIL has claimed responsibility. Al Jazeera with more.
With automatic weapons stormed villages. What followed was looting and chaos. They're members of an ISIL-affiliated group called Al-Shabaab, although they have no links to the Somali fighters. The International Organization for Migration says 5 villages were attacked, displacing 60,000 people. Entire families, small children, pregnant women and the elderly fled their homes, taking refuge in makeshift camps.
The attack happened and we had to leave everything behind because of the war. I fled with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. We're here waiting for help, taking it one day at a time.
We had no choice. Our village was under attack and my family and I had to seek shelter. We ended up here in this resettlement center. My sisters and uncles are here too. I would like to go back home, but I don't know what condition it's in.
Doctors Without Borders has launched an emergency response in 2 temporary camps, but with inadequate shelter and limited access to clean water, there's concern diseases will spread. The medical charity has been providing assistance in northern Mozambique since 2019 and says healthcare and humanitarian workers have also been attacked.
The biggest challenge is understanding the scale of the needs of the people. These are individuals fleeing conflict, many of them deeply traumatized, and they're afraid to even go out at night. So the challenge is twofold, making sure people can safely access healthcare and also ensuring that our medical teams can safely reach remote communities.
The armed group wants to establish what it says is an Islamic state, but observers say the insurgency is linked to control of offshore gas reserves. The unrest forced energy company Total to suspend its $20 billion operations here 4 years ago. While the government says the army is containing the violence, preventing it from spreading to other areas, the volatilities raise concern about how many more will be forced from their homes. Famida Miller, Al Jazeera.
Lebanon's cabinet has again met to discuss the disarmament of Hezbollah despite the latter's earlier rejection of the demands, which have largely been driven by the United States. Al Jazeera continues.
There's a new leadership in Lebanon which has committed itself to reclaiming the state's sovereignty, extending its authority across the country, and this will involve monopolizing weapons in the hands of the state and disarming all groups, non-state actors like Hezbollah. Now, the Lebanese government tasking the Lebanese army with preparing a plan to disarm all groups by the end of the year. Now, this is unprecedented. The state challenging Hezbollah, which used to be the most powerful political and military force in this country until it was weakened last year by Israel's war. Now, the Lebanese government, this is not going to be easy. This is going to be challenging and difficult because Hezbollah is not cooperating. It says that it will not disarm, it will not surrender its weapons because that will serve the interests of Israel, and that any decision taken by the Lebanese government is just ink on paper and it will not be implemented. So what is the Lebanese government going to do? If the army takes on Hezbollah, the army could split along sectarian lines. This is a deeply divided country, but so far, both sides have been treading carefully because this is such a politically sensitive issue. Now, the state is telling Hezbollah that your weapons have not protected this country, and that in this U.S. paper that the Lebanese government has approved and adopted, the U.S. will pressure the Israelis to stop attacks and to withdraw from southern Lebanon, but in exchange for Hezbollah disarming. So you have this deep divide in Lebanon. It is dangerous times. We're seeing supporters of Hezbollah take to the streets with their motorcycles at night in a show of protest. But Hezbollah has still not called for mass rallies. It hasn't withdrawn from the government yet, and that would cause a political crisis. So it's still too early to say how things will develop, but no doubt Lebanon is in uncharted waters. Zana Khodr, Al Jazeera, Beirut.
Authorities in France say that a wildfire that swept through the southwest of the country has now been brought under control. Since Tuesday, more than 2,000 firefighters have been battling the blaze on the ground and from the air. The fire destroyed an area equivalent to the size of Paris before officials announced it was contained late on Thursday. The firefighting effort was supported by aircraft and ground crews working in challenging summer conditions. Al Jazeera once more.
I'm at what is the staging post for an enormous emergency response to this wildfire in southwest France, and the word here on Friday morning is that it has been contained, which is not to say the flames are out. There is still much work to be done, they say, but it has been brought under control.
An area of 16,000 hectares with a perimeter of 95 kilometers is now contained. There is no further fire spread outside this area, but there are still risks of flare-ups and hotspots within the perimeter.
They'll keep watch, of course, across the fire's various fronts in case of flare-ups. The wind is still changeable. It's extremely hot and expected to get hotter with a new heat wave going into the weekend. Temperatures expected to reach around 40 degrees Celsius. So This parched, now largely blackened landscape remains extremely vulnerable, and few here, including the French government, would deny the underlying cause: increasingly hot, dry summers, not just here but across southern Europe. That means climate change and drought.
We were already on high alert when this fire started. The humidity was below 30%, around 23. The temperature was well above 30 degrees and the winds were very strong.
Now people who have evacuated their homes and villages can return, in some cases like this one, finding little left. But a damage assessment can already begin to be told in the numbers. 16,000 hectares torn through by this wildfire in under 72 hours. That's an area the size of the city of Paris. 13 people injured, 1 dead. France's worst wildfire in 75 years. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, in southwest France.
That report has brought us to the end of this edition of the news. However, before we go, another look at the headlines. Prime Minister Justin Nsengiyumva has begun a 2-day working visit to the eastern province. The genocide suspect, Francois Gasana, has been extradited from Norway to Rwanda. And on the international scene, a wave of attacks in northern Mozambique has displaced almost 60,000 people in just 2 weeks. The programs are continuing here on Rwanda Television, so do stay with us. I'll be seeing you again soon. Goodbye.
Ikaza ku mwanya w'iteganyagihe mutegurirwa na Meteo Rwanda mugiye kurigezwaho na Alphonsine Musanganire. None ku itariki ya